Alright guys, I want to share my story of how I went MGTOW. So, when I was a little boy, I was I think I was about two years old. My biological mother, she was, she was having a crack party, whatever, set me on the balcony. And I fell 2 stories off my head, onto my head. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in an emergency room. Brains hanging out like old Joe Dirt and shit. And, they stitched me up pretty good. I ain't got no scars or nothing. No visible ones, at least. And my dad is forced to either have me put me into foster care. My dad's at work, by the way. He's at work during this. But my dad's forced to either put me in foster care or have joint custody with his mother, my grandmother. So he takes the joint custody route, which ultimately gives my grandmother more control. And he continues to go back to work. And all through this, something weird happens. Around the age of 7, I asked Dad, "Hey, you work. You're self-employed. You're making about $2 grand a week. Why are you always so broke?" And my dad's always been kind of transparent with me. He don't tell me everything for, reasons that are his own. But he told me something that had more impact on my life than I thought it would at the time. And what he told me was, he's paying my biological mother child support. He's paying her child support. And he's raising me. She's not raising any kids, but he's paying her child support. I would say this is stage 1 of how I went MGTOW. Or basically where I started realizing, how the world really works. Now, fast forward a few years. I'm around 8 years old. My grandmother basically kidnaps me. My dad's at work, and my grandmother, she hauls me off to Alabama, along with my sister. So, she puts us in psychiatric wards off and on. We go in and out of these places. And what she's doing is trying to milk money out of the government via crazy checks. When we would go to the doctors, we would be told beforehand not to speak, not to communicate with the doctors. She would always say, "Let her do the talking," and she would say the most outlandish bullshit. And she'd have such a straight face on her too. But we got diagnosed with so much shit like schizophrenia, fucking autism, and fucking all kinds of stupid shit. And, I mean, yeah, she was making about $2 grand a month just by fucking stupid checks. Just, by the government. And she was, buying her own little house, buying a little piece of land. It was all paid for by the government. Now, eventually, I turned 13. And she realizes, a little straight white MGTOW he ain't he ain't exactly, he's not staying silent no more. He's becoming a more or less rebellious teenager. He's starting to get his voice out, especially in those doctor's offices. And I start telling him, hey, look, I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy. Stop sending me back and forth from these psych wards and home. And I don't think I ever spent more than a fucking, my entire school life, more or less, I haven't spent out of, like, I spent more time in those psych wards than I did in school. So I pretty much got no education. And when I did go to school, I mean, the work was boring anyway. I'm not gonna lie. If I was in school, I'd probably be just getting expelled all the time. Because the work was just repetitive, writing down shit, and all kinds of stupid shit. Just the same shit, day in, day out. So what I would do is be like, fuck you, and I put my head down. I put my head down, went to sleep. By the time the bell rang, that's kind of how I spent my school days. I mean, it seems a lot more productive to get some shut-eye than it does to fucking jot down the same shit every day. Anyway, come 13, my grandmother, she put us in a temporary psych ward. Well, kinda. She consults Department of Human Resources, which is like the governing thing for basically orphans and stuff, right? In Alabama. But here's the thing. She tells me and my sister, we're going to the DHR office to get food stamps. Now, I would like to inform you that, probably the average dude might have noticed this, but you don't go to the DHR office to get food stamps. I didn't know this because, we really didn't even have a TV. We didn't have television. We didn't have, we really don't know how the government works. And that's not exactly something they teach in school. They don't tell you, hey, look, the DHR office does this, the Senate does this. They don't teach politics more or less in school. They teach the basic branches and shit, but they don't really teach you real life shit, like how to do your taxes and, the shit you will actually end up using. So, yeah, I ended up, so I showed up, I'm all just here for the ride. We're getting food stamps, fuck yeah. And these two police officers come up to me, and my social worker says, okay, you know why you're here? Let's get this done. So she has me sign a piece of paper, and I do. I'm pretty much blank-minded. I'm not really thinking for myself. That's kind of how I've been indoctrinated, via the grandmother and whatever else. So, yeah, I don't think about it. I'm a 13-year-old boy. What the fuck do I got to think about on, signing a contract? So I signed this piece of paper, and, cops basically just acting there for protection because, reasons. And, so I feel her hand on my shoulder, she tells me come with her. Cops behind me, my grandmother starts breaking out in her trademark tears. That's when I know something's fucked up. Because she would always do this when she was trying to fake, some kind of, she was basically begging for sympathy. Like whenever me and my sister would have emotional problems, or, we'd actually have legitimate child concerns, she would always make herself the victim and make it about her. Like we'd be crying about how, we can't hang out with friends because her house is infested with roaches, and she just doesn't want to let other people who don't know about it know about it. And we can't go to their place because when you're spending when you're spending everything on food, gas, and basic bills, $2,000 really don't get you too far. I mean, you're buying a fucking house, so that only makes sense. So we couldn't really go hang out with our friends. We were more or less isolated children, just basically been held hostage for government money. That was it. Anyway, back at the DHR office. Yeah, her hands on my shoulder. We're being escorted. My grandmother starts crying. I just freaked the fuck out. I put my social worker in a chokehold, and one thing leads to another, and I'm sent to a detention facility. A little place called Three Springs in Tuskegee, Alabama. Long way away from home. And from there, I spent about 2 years. And that was more or less a prison. It was all brick walls. We were put in rooms, very small. There weren't no beds or nothing. It was just a brick slab. I mean, after a while, I did get a pillow, so I mean that was kind of nice. I mean, it wasn't no 5-star pillow, but I mean it felt nice. You'd be surprised the kind of shit you're grateful for after you spend 2 years sleeping on a slab. I'm just saying. You become one grateful motherfucker. Anyway, yeah, 2 years after that, I'm sent to a group home, a little Christian group home, a little Baptist. No, Methodist. The place was called United Methodist Children's Home, and it was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, after a while being there, I started. You walked straight out of damn near prison. I got this fucking thug accent. I'm surrounded by thugs. You adopt the people you're with. You adopt the characteristics of the people you're with. That's just social dynamic. That's how it works. If your roommate's a loud ass, you're probably gonna be a loud ass by the time you leave. In apartments or whatever. You adopt some of the characteristics of the people you hang out with. That's basic social dynamic. So and I'm not trying to justify, I was a bit of a dick. In hindsight, I was a prick. But yeah, I showed up at this Methodist group home. Now, bear in mind, I'm not a Christian, alright? I'm a 100% atheist. I've always been against Christianity because it really just feels like a slave mindset. Saying we are Jesus is the sheep and we're his shepherd. Or, Jesus is the shepherd and we're his sheep. Now, if you ask anybody today what it means to be a sheep, it's always going to be negative. Like, you do not want to be a damn sheep. And the more I thought about this, the more I kind of realized the God of the Bible is a really dicky prick. Like, the guy committed mass genocide, and I can't kill one stupid motherfucker? That dude's a hypocrite. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to listen to somebody who cannot follow his own damn advice. But, yeah. So, I end up at this group home, right? And, I'm just being a real dick to everybody, because at this point, I'm full of fucking... I'm 14 years old. Yeah, I'm about 14 years old now. 15, something like that. I'm pumped full of fucking testosterone. I got my hormones going through me. I'm a fucking teenager. And I'm an asshole teenager at that. And I just spent 2 years laying on a brick slab. Yeah, in my mind, they had no right to be sitting there fucking telling me what to do. That was one hell of an authority issue. Damn it, I'm about to die. Fuck. I had one hell of an authority issue. I still kind of do. But, one second. There we go. Sweet. Anyway, back on, so I'm back at this group home, right? I'm getting real close to being kicked out. I think I was there for 3 months. Yeah, then I got kicked out and all this other shit. So yeah, I get fucking kicked out, and I get taken to a place, a psych ward called Mountain View. No, not Mountain View. That was one of the temporaries that I spent 6 months in before the permanent lockup. So I get transferred to this place called Hillcrest. It's a little psych ward for psychiatric patients. And I'm there for 8 months. Now what we did there was we had like these hospital beds we slept on, you know, real shitty. But during the day, all we really did was, we sat on a couch for basically the whole day, from getting up out of bed till going to sleep. You know, calling it a night. That's how we did shit back in Hillcrest. That was life. And I think it was even more torturous because we had transparent windows. They were bulletproof, you know, indestructible and all that, so you couldn't break them and jump out. But you could get a clear view of society about 20 stories down. And that was some real psychological torture. Like, I've been stuck inside a fucking white room. That don't compare to sitting next to a window where you can watch everybody who has freedom exercise that freedom, and like they don't even think twice about it. Like, it's all taken for granted. Like, it is some real torture right there to know that the person within viewing distance is living their life and you can't live yours. That is fucking brutal. I'd also like to yeah, and moving on. So after about, a few months there, I get moved to a new place because I've exceeded the maximum time that you're basically permitted to stay at Hillcrest. So my social worker, my new one, this bitch has it in for me. I shit you not. But, yeah, I get transferred to, fuck, what was it called? Damn. Bay Point. Funny story about Bay Point. Just recently, a guy an autistic fella, little black boy, he was basically smothered to death in a restraint. Like, I wanted to attest to this guy's case because the family did make a lawsuit. But I mean, I'm stuck here in fucking Texas, and I'm kind of broke as hell. So I really can't. I want to fucking help the guy, but I can't. But anyway, enough depressing shit. Yes, that's the kind of shit that happens, and that came so close to happening to so many so many fucking people there. But anyway, yeah, funny story. I fucking there's just so much fucking depressing shit, man. But yeah, I went there. I went to a few other places. Uh, there's really oh shit. I'm cutting the story short. All right, so about 2 years before I get freedom, my dad calls me out of nowhere. It's just a random phone call. My dad calls me. He tells me that he's been looking for me. He's been looking for fucking years. He hasn't stopped looking. And what did it was my uncle had told him, hey, look, here's where your son is. Because, I mean, he knew I was kidnapped. Alright, I'm no doubt how the fuck can you not know? You come home from work, you know, your sons and your family shit's thrown all over the lawn, liquidating to basically whatever you can fit in a U-Haul. Yeah, he knew it went down, but he didn't know where. Turns out it was half across the fucking country. So, he calls me, lets me know what's up. He gives me the real story, not the bullshit story my grandmother gave me, which was, I'm sorry, son, I'm trying to get you out. I'm trying to, I'm working the system, trying to, like, bitch, you're the one put me in here. But, old gullible me was hell-bent on believing it, because, shit, take your optimism where you can. But, yeah, so my dad, like, he actually, this dude built his own house, because in the state of Alabama, you're not a legal adult until you're 19, and he was trying to get me at 18. 18 years old, and you finally get freedom. I want to talk about something to you little pussies. If you think not having a date for prom is a real bummer, fuck you. Really, fuck you. Try getting your face bashed in on prom night, because the guy who's basically running the block, the staff, as they call him, that's his title, because he's having a fucking bad day at home. He's just got some personal issues going on. So you know what? We got to break your fucking face in. That's yeah. You think not having a date for prom is bad? Fuck you. Just fuck you, you fucking pussy. Stupid pussy ass motherfuckers. Alright, I'm kind of done being pissed off. Look. So, yeah, at the age 18, my dad finally wins the court cases. He finally gets custody. He's invested about $400,000 so far, taken out in loans, taken out working just day and night. If he was not self-employed, none of this would have been possible. I'd probably be in there for life. I would never have had freedom. So if you ask me, I owe my dad my life. But yeah, and I get home. My stepmother's a real cunt. I mean, she was all on board with, getting me home, because that's what my dad wanted. Uh, that was his thing. And stepmom's always been real supportive of dad. I mean, that's just... And I'm real grateful for what she does. She's got her moments when she's a pretty cool chick, but one thing I noticed, like I said, she's my stepmother. She's not the biological mother. And my dad married a cougar, so she's older than him. and she's got her own kids. So these 40-year-old dudes, these two 40-year-old dudes who are about the same age as my dad, about 2 or 3 years short, they're living in his house, and that's cool. I mean, that's whatever the fuck, if he's gonna let it happen, that's his business, not mine. But I personally don't respect it. I mean, I don't think the average dude would respect it, or if the average anybody would respect it. But you know what? Fuck it. But yeah, she was always like real overprotective, and I swear this bitch had it out for me. Now, bear in mind, I'm 18, I just got out of fucking mental institution. I'm like the least socially aware guy, and on top of having fucking Asperger's, which, in case you don't know, it's basically a form of autism, but your social skills are just kind of lagging, more or less. You're not the most socially adept dude. I'm definitely not. It's just something you gotta work extra hard at to get the same results as somebody who doesn't have to work extra hard at. A lot of folks with fucking Asperger's will say, well, I'm just not good at it, so no, fuck that. Socializing is a requirement. I say, if it's a requirement in life, whether you're good at it or not, you have to get good at it. You have to shut the fuck up, quit complaining, and just fucking get good at it. Anyway, back on, my stepmother was a real bitch. She would always have it in for me. She would say shit like I didn't have a car or nothing, so I was relying on her to get to work. And here's the thing, she was real adamant about me getting work because, obviously staying at home, just not getting anything done, not advancing in my life is not exactly, something good, right? But here's the thing. She would, I would get work. Like, I got my first job at, what was it, fucking Kroger's. Yeah, I got hired on at Kroger's. And, on day one, I basically got fired. Like, I never showed up because I couldn't. She wouldn't get out of the fucking bed. Now, a little something about my stepmom, she's lazy as fuck. And she takes credit for everything she doesn't do. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, before I got hired on at Kroger's, I worked with my dad. Basically, so he could show me the ropes of working and all that cool shit. So I can technically build a fucking house. And I'm grateful to my dad for that. Like, he's a carpenter. I'm grateful to my dad for teaching me at the age of fucking 18 to 19 to build a damn house. You know what kind of accomplishment that is? Bro, I am fucking proud of that shit. I'm proud of my fucking dad. But here's the thing, right? I still had no car. When I was working for him, I wasn't really getting paid. It was more of a thing for him to show me the ropes, show me some work ethic, reintroduce me to life, introduce me to civilization, basically. Because just sitting out in the house wasn't really going to do much of that. Eventually, he did pay me about, $100, a fixed rate of $100 a week. Because that's all he could really spare. He's sitting here paying off debts for, the debts I told you about the fucking debts. But, yeah, so he's doing what he can, helping his boy out. That's cool. But here's the thing. I would go to work, I would come back home, and I would do the dishes, I would, do the laundry, do all the fucking sweeping and mopping the floors and mowing the grass, all that cool shit. And I'm not against doing chores, you gotta do chores and it's good to know how to fucking do them. But at the same time, the thing that pisses me off about it was the days I didn't go to work, when there was a basically a communication gap or whatever, you know, between her and my dad, because, no, I mean, not communication, a reality gap. Like, he could not see what did not, you know, he couldn't see what went down because he's at work. But I would do all this. I would mow the grass. I would fucking, you know, I would clean the damn fucking floors, do the dishes, and all this cool shit. What really pissed me off about it was she would take credit and then bitch about how I did nothing. When I say this woman had it in for me, I'm not fucking exaggerating or saying saying it because I'm butthurt about something. I mean, she legitimately would go out of her way to make my life hell. Like, I would fucking do every damn thing. I would have that place clean top to bottom, and it only took me like 2 hours, if you include the mowing the grass. I'd be all done, you know, showered, fucking cleaned up, spick and span, new clothes on, everything smelling all Febreze like, and you know, she was going down. And my dad would get home, and she would make it her mission to get my dad to hate me. Now, thankfully, my dad just wasn't going to have that shit. He just said, you know, okay, honey, whatever. He never took this shit seriously because he knew she was bullshitting. My dad used to be quite the fucking PUA back in the day. Alright? So if you're looking for fucking sex advice, just ask me, write that shit in the comments. I'll address it to him because he can say that shit better than I fucking can. And he'll give the best damn advice you ever got. Whenever I had trouble dating, he was the first guy I went to. You know. But anyway, yeah, back on the fucking mother and shit. Yeah, she would go out of her way to make my fucking life hell, and it was a real pain in my ass. Like, if you have never seen a headache, like sitting here trying to get a woman to stop fucking smearing your name, it's just a losing battle. It's an uphill losing battle. Now, thankfully, her credibility is more or less fucked when it comes to, you know, what my dad thinks, because my dad doesn't take anything seriously. He always fucking analyzes the evidence, which is like some red pill fucking shit right there. But, yeah. I just get real fucking pissed off about it, man. It's just fucking, you know, shit, man. But yeah, so, shit, I'm up here, 22 now, and I've more or less got my fucking life in order. It ain't perfect. I ain't no damn millionaire or nothing. Would like to be, but, you know, I make do. I bring the bills in. Shit, I got my own place, my own car. I live pretty comfortably. Shit. Getting a little tired. But yeah, that's just kind of my story. I just thought I'd share that with you guys because, you know, every MGTOW has their own story. A lot of dudes come to MGTOW and they're just, you know, they're looking for a solution to a problem that's already been had. And really, the only way to solve a problem is to just not have it happen at all. You know, a lot of dudes, they get into marriages, they get burned in a marriage. You know, they get their ass fucking wiped the floor, man. Yeah, they get burned in a marriage, and they're just, you know, they're basically fucked. All the red pill knowledge in the world will not help them. I mean, it'll help them in the future so they don't make that same mistake again. But odds are they probably weren't going to make that mistake again because they already knew. They already found out, you know. They found out the hard way. And that's a real fucking shame. You know, you really shouldn't have to find out the hard way. I mean, there should be like a fucking billboard around every corner just letting you know, hey, don't get married. It's a terrible idea. But, I mean, society more or less encourages it. And they definitely encourage women to, you know, divorce dudes. Now, I personally believe the reason my dad has not been divorced yet is because his credit's fucked. So, and everything will automatically be drawn out of his like legitimate checks to my biological mother, who is currently in prison right now. But she'll still be getting the money. It's still going to go to her some way somehow. I've no doubt. So he took the smart approach and became an entrepreneur. You know, he started his own company, makes more than the average dude, and he works all for cash in hand. Like if you can't pay him in cash in hand, he just don't work for you. But he's always working. He's built up a reputation. He's always working. You know, there were some setbacks where he had to work for other folks, but he's got that silver tongue, so he's able to work out deals. You know, hey, look, I'll work for a little bit less if you can pay me cash in hand. You know, you gotta when you're doing business, you gotta play to the person. You gotta play to the interest of the person you're dealing with. Like if you think it's all gonna be about you, and you can't fucking you can't how you say compromise. If you can't compromise when it comes to business, you're gonna do terribly in business. And that's a damn good lesson I learned from him, because it definitely helped my social skills. You know, because like I said, I got Asperger's. I'm not the most adept guy when it comes to socializing, but you know, just help you out. If you appeal to someone's interest, like you don't talk about yourself too much, just kind of talk about the other person. Um, Something to do with dopamine, something to do with you know, natural narcissism. If you, well, I ain't got to tell you guys this. Y'all probably normal as fuck. But yeah. That's my story, and let me know if it helps you out. You know, let me know if any of you guys went through something similar. Uh, and if you want me to cover something else, you know, cover some other kind of topic that I may or may not know of, just comment on it. Because I'm not really good at coming up with topics, especially since I don't watch the news. Like I don't know the most recent shit because I don't have TV. I mean, I have a fucking TV. I'm playing on it, but I don't have like cable or nothing. And the antenna that I got, it really don't work too well. But yeah, if you guys got a topic or you want my thoughts on it, like I'm real good at common sense and putting logic into shit. So if you're just looking for a no bullshit answer, I mean, go ahead and ask it in the comment section. Feel free. Uh, and you know, that's all I got to say, guys. So, you know, straight white MGTOW out.